So in this video, we're going to go really deep down the rabbit hole, and I promise, as weird as it gets, it also will be useful at the end. And so, do you think the way you think you think? And I promise that's not just a bunch of philosophical wordplay. There's actually something to this, and it may be very important for what it means to be human, because it seems like us humans, we're not just lost in thought, but this trickery might be at the bottom of it all. And so let's start off with vision. Well, do you see the way you think you see? And we know that that's absolutely not the case at all. So, well, how do you think you see? Well, it seems like your awareness is somewhere behind the eyes, and you're just looking out the eyes, and you just see the world as it is, like some kind of camera or something. And it's just not the way it works at all. You don't ever see the world. You don't ever see any objects. All you see are the light energy that gets reflected off those objects. And these photons, this light energy, makes contact with the back of our eye, the retina. And then this amazing magic trick happens where the retina converts this energy in the world to a language that your brain can understand. And all that information goes back to the visual cortex, and it gets reconstructed into an image of what you think is actually out there. And so you're not seeing at all what's actually out there. You only think you're seeing what's out there. So that's one really interesting trick. Well, but what if that trick is also happening with our thoughts themselves? Which is to say, maybe our thoughts are not at all the way we think they are. Maybe the similar type of trickery is underneath this. And so let's examine our most common form of thinking, the voice in the head. We talk to ourselves all day. Let's really dissect this. Let's take the spotlight of awareness and deconstruct it and see what's really there. And you can, so this is a practice, and you can do these throughout the rest of the day, and it become more and more convincing the more you work at it. And ask yourself questions like this, like, okay, what if I scream in my head? Is it really loud? What if I whisper? What if the inner voice is like really, really super quiet? Is it really any different than when it was screaming? And are you even sure it's your voice? So as you talk to yourself the rest of the day, you just assume it's your voice. Really examine it though, and you'll see it's really not like anyone's voice. I mean, could you even tell if it's male or female? Are there any qualities about this voice that make you think that it has anything that's really sound like quality? And when you examine this, you'll start to realize you only think it's your voice. You only think it's a voice at all. Maybe it isn't. Maybe it's just a thought portraying itself as something it actually isn't. And maybe that's the way thoughts are. Now, I said I was going to make this useful. This kind of trickery is one of the things that can actually significantly influence our lives here as we go on this human adventure. Because what about these other bigger thoughts that we think we're having? Things like anxiety, things like depression, things like meaninglessness and existential crises, and all the stuff that really bring the trip down. What if these thoughts that you think you're having, let's just take even happiness, but let's go with maybe something more disturbing like anxiety. So you're so convinced that you're anxious right now, but what if that's just a thought portraying what it isn't? And when we buy into it, that is only when it becomes its reality.